Morning, everybody. My name is Jared O'Leary, and I've been drumming for 26 years-ish, and I still have plenty of stuff that I'm going to work on. Today, I'm going to be working on upstroke drumming technique, and we are specifically going to work on the exercise that we did the last couple of days, where it's a triplet grid where you're playing upstrokes, trying to get my left hand to match my right hand. But before we get into that, we're going to do a stretch and massage routine. Before we get into that, we're going to warm up. And before we do that, we're going to talk a little bit about this. Not Shia LaBeouf. We'll get to him in a second. On all these drum streams, I've got a playlist on my YouTube channel that has drum practice streams. And when you click on any one of these, it actually shows you what I was talking about, what I was practicing, how I was working on something, etc. So, like yesterday, most of it was actually spent like responding to some questions. So, for example, talked about a quote that resonates with me, talked about improving grip strength after an injury, and we talked quite a bit about when should you quit a toxic learning environment, etc. So you can actually see some of the timestamps in there. If you don't want to watch the full unedited raw live stream, that's okay. You can go to the playlist called Drumming Tips. This is where I respond to some questions that are in the different chats, because we're live on 2 different YouTubes, on Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter, technically, but those chats are disabled because I can't see them. So if you want to find like the edited versions of stuff, you can actually go to any of these drumming tips videos and click on it and be like, okay, what was discussed here? Whoa, it's me talking. And you can see in the timestamps all the different topics for each one of the edited sections, so you can actually check that out. If you want to find all the play-alongs that I use, there's literally over 1,000 of them, and they're free. You can find them linked at the top of the screen /drum on my website. And there's 54 chop exercises, over 900 grid variations. Oh, almost 900 grid variations. I mathed wrong. A bunch of triplet and 16th note ones. We'll be working on some triplet ones today. There's a bunch of charts for drum kit, a bunch of exercises for marching bass, and over 100 technique exercises. All of the playlists that I was just showing you is at the bottom underneath tips and lessons. Now, before we get into all that stuff, we're going to get motivated with some Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf helps get me into the streaming mindset so we can be extra goofy, but because of copyright, we're going to hide him for a moment. Here we go, Shia. Help me out. Do it! Just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it. Make your dreams come true. Just do it. Some people dream success. Well, you're going to wake up and work hard at it. Nothing is impossible. You should get to the point where anyone else would quit, and you're not going to stop there. No, what are you waiting for? Do it. Just do it. Yes, you can. Just do it. If you're tired of starting over, stop giving up. I need to get those hand angles down. Oh, yeah, look at that flex. Yes, yes. We're super motivated now. Okay, speaking of motivated, I want to share with you a quote that might resonate with you. It resonates with me. I enjoy it. Okay, so the quote is, what skills can you work on today that will expand your future opportunities? So wherever you're at today, you're not in this fixed state that is going to be your continued existence for the rest of time. If you want to work on public speaking, cool. What are some things that you could do to work on public speaking? If you want to get better at investing, what are some things you could do for that? Maybe analyze some real estate deals. What about how to improve performance anxiety, or writing music, or getting better at improvising, etc.? All these things are things that can be significantly improved a year from now, 5 years from now. So what's something that you can do today to work on that? So for example, I'm going to be working on some upstroke technique today, and 5 years from now, my upstrokes are going to be better for like inverts and other like different patterns and whatnot. Same thing when I was like writing music. One of the things that I would do when I first was writing music, like drumline stuff, is every day I just like come up with new exercises. Whether it was like for students that I was working with, like, oh, here's a technique exercise that you can use. Those technique exercises are now on my website, and now people are able to use them as the play-alongs. But I also would just like sit there and like write out some snare parts, some solos, or some parts on drum kit, or whatever. So you can spend 10, 15 minutes, an hour, however long you need to every single day. If you make progress towards it over time, you're going to get better at it. So start thinking about the skills that you want to have 5 years from now, but then work your way backwards and go, okay, what's something I can do today, right now, to actually work towards that ability level in the future? So hopefully that resonates with you. For those of you who might have more of a fixed mindset and be like, I don't know if I'm going to get better at this. You can, I promise. You can get better. Anyways, the technique exercises, like some of the ones that I was just like mentioning in here, were stuff that I was like, this would help that student out. Let me write this out. But now they're a play along, which makes it so much better. So you can actually hear the interpretation of everything. Let's warm up before we get into our upstroke work. Let's warm up with what? I was like, should I do a shopping spree? Yeah, let's do 4210. And so we're going to do it at 140. With all of these play-alongs, you just go into the timestamp, you can jump to a BPM. So this one starts at 40 and goes all the way up to 200 beats a minute. We're going to do a nice, comfortable 140. I think it'll be comfortable. Stay tuned, we'll find out. Today's episode of Jared Attempts to Get Better at the Drums Publicly. Wow, that's loud. Alright, so this pattern, the 4, it's a normal shopping spree. But page 2, it gets weird. Inverts, cheese cheddar chug, cheese inverts, chut cheese. Now 2 of each, including the check. 5s, cheddar chuz, inverts, cheese cheddar chug, cheese invert, chut cheese. 1 of each. Didn't want to hit the microphone. And then the 1 is 1 of each, and then the 0 is no check. Still 1 of each. Move this so I can actually get to the keyboard a little bit easier. Man, my nose gets so itchy when I play drums in the morning. What? I double tapped it. Killed the spacebar, unfortunately. Ew. I'm still warming up. That left hand. Those diddles are wonky. Weird, right? Kept sliding. Had to do some Muay Thai there. Had to knee it. Should have used more hip. Yeah, so that 0 pattern at the end is fun. So it's just like one of every single one of the rudiments. It's just like the 1 pattern, except it doesn't go check, rudiment, check, rudiment. It's just drag, cheese, 5, cha-cha-cha, invert, cheese, cha-cha-cha, cheese, invert, and cha-cheese. And you can do this with any like pairs or sets of rudiments and whatnot. This is just like stock spree, or a version of stock spree. Good. Last rep, and then we'll stretch and massage. Now that we got the blood flowing. It's a great warm-up. Good chop exercise. Sweet, let's stretch and massage now. Now that we got the blood flowing in the arms, hold your palms facing up. Knees are weak, your arms are sweaty. That's not the lyrics. Swing and a miss. It's one of those mornings apparently. That's okay. This is a good stretch. I like it. 10 out of 10. We stretch again. And just go out the way that you came. If you do traditional grip, rotate and hold here for like 20, 30 seconds. Then rotate and hold the other end of the extreme, 20 to 30 seconds. But I don't march traditional anymore, so I'm not doing that. Now we're going to stretch the underside of the forearms. Ooh-wee. You could do it one at a time. You could do it on the pad like I did yesterday. Today I'll do it on the wall. The lower you go, the deeper the stretch. Don't put all your weight into it. That'd be bad. Yeah. Now we're going to stretch the top side of the forearm. You could do it like this. You could do it on your leg, like that. You could do it on your pad, like that. Or do it on the wall. The higher you go, the deeper the stretch. Again, don't put all your weight into it. Boop. Now we're going to stretch our fingers. Thumb to thumb just goes twice as fast. Start with the larger muscle groups, work your way down to the smaller ones. So basically, from here on down, if you need to stretch like your shoulders and stuff, like here's a good one that you can do. Go the other way, go down like that. Do some of this stuff for your stretch. But I do a lot of that in my morning workout, so I don't do it here. But I recommend it. If your shoulders are tight, it'll make your biceps tight, your triceps tight, it'll make your forearms tight, make your quadriceps tight, make your ankles tight. That was a joke. That was clearly the knee, not the ankle. I have a very dry sense of humor and delivery, and it made me laugh so hard when students wouldn't realize that I was making a joke. Internally, I'm just giggling, and then externally, I'm just like, when it just whoosh right over their heads. It was great. I used to do a bunch of weird stuff that I wouldn't explain to people. So like one of them, in the classroom, when I was a computer science educator, I taught in a computer lab where the floors was like that, like linoleum. It was like very smooth, and they had these rolly chairs, and kids would all the time fall out of their chairs, like just completely fall over, fall onto the back. Never injured or anything like that. So it was hilarious. So what I would do is whenever that would happen is I'd just go over to the whiteboard and just put a tally on the whiteboard. And I had like different like grade levels or classes and whatnot up there, and they never knew what the tallies were for. They would always be like, "What's the tallies for?" And I would just be like, "Don't worry about it. Just keeping track of something." But there'd be like 20 tallies next to like one class. Oh, today was a good day. We got 5 kids falling over in their chairs. And then when they switched to carpet, then they wouldn't fall over as much. It was much less slippery. It was funny though. It made me laugh. Didn't need to tell anyone to make it even funnier. Sharing it with you in case you want to laugh with me. Now, like, sometimes I get, like, former students who will, like, comment on some of my stuff on social media and whatnot. They're like, I was a kindergarten teacher when you taught me, like, 10 years ago. Or not teacher, student. And it'd be funny if they're like, oh, that's why Jared would put a tally up? Yep, that's why. It was funny. It made me go, ha-ha. I'm massaging top and bottom of the forearm, just kind of working my way on there. Now I'm going to do the hands. I'm doing thumb massaging here, fingers massaging on the back. Try and get nice and relaxed. After we finish this, basic tip, massaging, we're going to work on upstroke stuff, and then we'll chop out. And then after this drum stream, in about an hour-ish, we're going to play Surgeon Simulator for the first time. I'm going to put my doctorate to use. We'll see how good I am. See how steady these hands can be. I should do it with like a mask, face mask on. I think the only ones we have are black, though, so it look like I'm kind of like a bandit. Let's see if I can find some that are like the typical, like, white or blue surgeon masks. All right. Now that we stretched and massage, warmed up a little bit, let's go work on upstroke. So again, that exercise was 4210. Mouse was getting stuck. Shopping spree, and it's right here under the chop stuff. Let's scroll past all the other thousands of free stuff into the technique exercises. I changed like the thing so it didn't have descriptions, and like these are more compact. So like I'm scrolling like way down to where they used to be, but like I don't have to scroll as much. Hopefully it's easier on people who use it on mobile. Anyways, we're working on accent tap. In this playlist, there are 20 videos in here. Excuse me. All the ones that say members first are scheduled to release publicly. I promise all of the play-alongs that I create are going to come out for free. There's like 160 some on that are currently scheduled to release. More to come on the way. So if you see any members first, you don't have to be a member to get access to these play-alongs. I promise. They'll come out. All right, so we've been working the last couple of days on upstrokes. We started at 40. We got to 70 2 days ago, and then yesterday we did a lot more talking than playing. So we only did like 70 to 80 BPMs. So let's go here. Boop. You can go way faster. This can go as fast as 200. Some serious invert ability right there if you do it at 200. Turn this down a little bit. Keep the accent relaxed. Let the velocity and the height do the work for you. Don't squeeze. Ew. I screwed up. The pad was like sliding again. I was like, It's funny how it changes the pitch. We can make a whole song for pad on pad. Solo for drum pad on drum pad. You can buy it on roll off or tap space. That probably is more of like a roll off like thing rather than a tap space thing, but just like write a solo for it. Okay, now change it to a higher pitch. Sorry, I'm goofy. Shia LaBeouf got me in the goofy mood. I blame it on Shia. So I was really focusing on the tap consistency and then the accent. Camera's blurry. There we go. Overhead. It's like Bigfoot is blurry. Too heavy on the left hands. Whoops. There's also a 16th note version of this. There's also a backwards version of this on triplet and 16th note. If you want to work on your upstrokes with different pattern, you can do that. Go. Look at that timing. My nose is so itchy. It's distracting. Trying to resist. I had to. I'm sorry. Sometimes when students are playing like inverted accents or upstroke accents is another way of kind of thinking of it. There's a tendency like when you're playing that first tap, is it like kind of crescendos like that, so they like start at like grace note height and kind of work their way up. So make sure that that first stroke is like a solid note and not like slowly kind of creeping his way up. That's bad. Don't do that. Anyways. Late. Too heavy. Focusing on the taps too much, and the accents are too heavy. It's better. Actually, that's an interesting thing I can talk about now I'm thinking about it. So one of the things that you can do when practicing is not actually look at your playing and just focus on the listening side of things. There's a tendency when you are engaging with multiple senses while playing that it kind of dilutes all of them rather than just focusing on listening or just focusing on watching. Like, for example, if you record yourself and put it on mute and just watch how do your hands look when what are the motions. And if you're on like YouTube, like you can put it at like quarter speed and really just watch. What does the motion of the hand look like? The stroke, the fingers, how are they all moving? Same thing for listening. So you'll notice when I'm doing these like practice streams, I'll often like look away or just like not look at my hands. And that's because I'm focusing just on the listening side of things. So I can really hear how consistent are those taps. Is it making a little slight crescendo or decrescendo? How consistent are the accents between each one of the hands, etc. Pro tip from a pro gamer. All right, let's go. And when I say like dilute the senses, it doesn't mean literally. It's more from like a cognitive load perspective, where you can handle 7 plus or minus 2 things any moment in your working memory. So if you are focusing too much on one thing, it will make it so you actually are ignoring everything else. So like, I don't know about you, but if you're like really focused on like working, like typing out something or reading something, you might like not hear people around you and be like, oh wait, sorry, what'd you say? Because you're so focused on that. So same thing for this. Like if you are focusing so much on the visual side of things, you might not actually really listen to hear how does it actually sound with what I'm playing. So that's what I'm talking about with the dilution of it. So just isolate out the senses, focus on like just listening, just watching, etc., or just feeling it. Like close your eyes, don't really listen. How does it feel in your hand? Those are all things that you can do to improve. Got an idea. Next rep. Okay. Same thing. Now, we're going to go check out the instant replay of that. Okay, so on my home tab, on YouTube. Hey. Still playing. Okay, so if we go to the widescreen, and we're going to mute it, and let's just look at the technique. So I can show you what I was talking about here with just put something on mute and really watch your technique to see, well, how is it moving? Now, the quality of this is not as good because it is a live stream, so it's like slightly diluted. But hopefully it looks decent enough. Okay, so the cool thing about YouTube is you can slow it down. So you can be like, well, what does it look like with quarter speed when you're playing through something. And when you have it on mute, you can really just focus on, well, what is the motion of the right hand versus the left hand? Okay, so the left hand's a little more open in terms of the fulcrum. The fingers are coming off the stick. The right hand thumb is coming off the stick quite a bit on the accent, so we're going into really focusing on those back fingers on there. And less so on the left hand. There's a slight angle here on this particular camera, so it looks a little off. It's like it's not straight centered on me, and I can't really do too much about that. At least not right now. Another thing we can look at over here is the hand motion from a top-down perspective and whatnot. So this is super helpful for your own playing. It's just like record yourself and really just slow this thing down and try and figure out like what worked well, what could I have improved there, etc. And on YouTube, you can do that. Another thing you actually do is if you go into like 2x speed, oops. If you go to 2x speed, you can actually see some patterns as well. So for example, like student teachers, like future teachers who are like in the field working in a classroom, not getting paid for it, they will often put like a lesson at like 2x speed and watch, well, where am I moving in the room? Do I tend to answer some questions more than others? What does my body language look like? Like how am I interacting with students, etc.? And 2x speed is actually a good way to do that. So you can kind of get some like general patterns to see that, okay, well, how much does my like elbow moving on here? And it exaggerates those motions more because you're like doing this like Casey Rocket moving around on the stage the entire time. So check out your playing, record yourself, put it at 2x speed to look at the meta, play it at normal speed with it on mute to see like what does the hand motion look like. And if you really want to look at the hand motion, slow it down to like quarter speed and really just try and figure out, okay, what are each one of the fingers' hands doing? You can do that recording yourself. Beep, bop, bop, ba-dop. Click. Okay, let's continue. It's not muted. Cool. 9 to 5. Barely made it. The photo finish there. Late on the release. I'm so sorry. Yeah, slightly late on some of the hand-to-hand transitions. Whoopsies. Wasn't really paying attention to the BPM, but I think we're at 100. Oh, wow. Amazing. Yeah. I think I'll try and get to 110 or 20 today. And then we'll chop out. And then we'll do some Surgeon Simulator. Yeah, I'm really focused on those accents right now. Trying to stay relaxed. Water break. ASMR experience. For you. Enjoy. My doctor recently told me I need to drink 2 of these a day. At least. This is 1.9 liters of water. That's a lot. Okay, doc. I'll do it. Speaking of doc, we're going to put my doctorate to the test with Surgeon Simulator in like 40 minutes. Stay tuned. Excuse me. Ugh. Bad transition. I gotta be more specific about what was bad, so that way you can go back and listen to it. Be like, oh, it was bad. I should listen for that in my own playing. That's why I do this. Focusing on the taps. Yeah, so again, I'm focused on that consistency of the taps. Keep them all the same. Don't do the crescendo that I talked about earlier. Okay, we'll actually stop the upstroke work there. So we went from, what was that, 80 to 110. Nice. There, again, is more upstroke variations of grid, both for triplet and 16th note. But then there's also the inverts builder, which is a great exercise for working on your inverts. So I highly recommend checking that out. And as always, just go into the timestamps, and you can play this one as slow as 20 beats a minute or as fast as 160. The 16th notes. That's quick. So this works on the right hand, where you're playing the same thing on the right hand, basically, for the first half. And you slowly add in one note at a time until you get to inverts. And then you subtract one note at a time, and it focuses on the left hand on the second half of the exercise. So it's a great way to build up and break down the rudiments. You work on them away from each other and in context, in terms of just isolating out what the right hand's doing or just the left hand, but also what are they doing combined with various versions of that. And again, that one's called Inverts Builder. All right, let's chop out. Let's play. We did cheese cha-cha. No, cheese invert version of slow paradiddle the other day. Thank you. I appreciate the follow on Twitch. But let's chop out, actually, we're going to do something completely different. So let's do a roll exercise. So underneath triplet roll exercise or triplet diddle variations, there are 6 variations. Every single one of these has a normal version and an inverted version. So when you're playing the roll, if you look at this, yeah, sure, 4 count. Whoop. Okay, it's muted. So this version, it sounds the same all the way up through the end, except you play everything as an invert. So the inverted roll, like at the very end, instead of going right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, you actually start with a single note, and then you play the roll. So right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, and it ends with a double right on it. So this is a great way to displace the rolls, so that way you actually are focusing on the second note, because the second note of the diddle lines with the downbeats and whatnot, lines up with it. So highly recommend working on the inverted versions of diddle exercises, but we are going to play just the normal version, triplet diddle, 4 counts. There's also a 2-count version. And as always, go into the timestamps, and you can jump to a BPM. Let's start at a nice, comfortable 140. And we're going to go all the way up to 200. Stay tuned. Is it going to sound good? Nobody knows. Ew. The left hand feels weird. Now let's jump up by 20. 20. Why would I care about Tom Cruise and Scientology? Like, every now and then I just, like, look at these and I'm like, not interested in that. Not interested in that. Not interested in that. Like, how many videos is it going to be just a complete miss on for the YouTube algorithm? Stay tuned. We'll find out. 160. Hey, I appreciate the sub. So normally if you end with a 0 or a 5 on any of these play-alongs, it'll give you a few moments to get set up. But at the very last rep of it at 200, it just immediately taps off. So let's get ourselves ready. Here we go. If 200's too fast for you, that's okay. You can slow it down to 40. I could go make myself some tea. By the time it's done making tea, I'd still be ready for this tap off. All of these play-alongs for free can be found on my YouTube channel. The best way on YouTube to go to is actually the Home tab. The Home tab, when you click on the header for the drumming stuff, or the gaming stuff, or the computer science stuff, it shows you only those videos. Because I create a lot of content, unapologetically, a new drumming video, at least one a day. When you click on this, it shows you all the drumming tips, all the technique exercises, all the chop exercises, the several hundred grid variations, etc. So you can find it just by scrolling through all these playlists. But the absolute best way to sort through everything is to go to the link at the top of the screen, /drum on my website. This is where you can find all of the prior drum practice streams with timestamps showing you what I talked about or worked on, as well as the edited drumming tips playlist. This has 62 different YouTube videos where it's a compilation of me answering questions in the chat, as somebody who's been drumming for 26 years, who has a bachelor's, master's, PhD in music education, I often talk about here's how to work on things, or here's how to teach something, things like that. So you can check out that playlist. It'll keep you busy for a while. We also got 54 chop exercises, like almost 900 grid variations, a bunch of drum charts, 55 of them, a bunch of marching bass stuff, and over 100 technique exercises. Again, timestamps in the description. Any video that says members first just means that it's early access for those people who are members. So thank you for people who are members. It does help me out. But if you want to help me out for free, just share this stuff with somebody else or use it. You can press like, boop, and be like, yeah, I love this video. I'm going to share it with a friend. Do they play drums? No. Will they enjoy it? Probably not. But will it help me out? Maybe. We'll find out. Edward, hello. Welcome back. What is your practice pad? So actually, if you go under the tips and lessons, whoop, the very first link right here, books and gear I recommend. It takes you to where you can find a bunch of different stuff I recommend, like the practice pad that I'm using, but this is the off-world practice pad. So if you scroll past, here's some drum kit books, some rudimental books, some concert snare, timpani. Here's the stuff that I use on drum kit, like the low volume cymbal heads, the low volume cymbals, comma, drum heads, not cymbal heads. But the pad that I'm using is this one, Off-World Invader version 3. I do want to try out the new Vic Firth pads. We've got pad Inception here, pad on pad on pad. But I want to try the new ones that have the rims. So maybe we'll do like a pad review. And the sticks I'm using are the Hardeman Hammers. They are extra heavy chopsticks. I highly recommend them for building up your endurance and chops. You can find a link to them here. These are affiliate links, so I get about 4%-ish back from Amazon. So thank you for people who use it. Like if you're going to buy a TV, you can just click on one of these links and be like, I'm now going to go buy a TV on Amazon. And it does actually support me. So it doesn't have to be the exact same thing that you click on that you end up buying. So thank you for people who have done that. I'm going to call it here, though. We're going to get ready for some Surgeon Simulator. We're going to put my doctorate to the test and do some surgery on some people. You can get... sorry, it's cut off your comment. YouTube, why are you cutting it off? In the gaming store. Which gaming store? All the gaming stores. Anyways, speaking of gaming, I'm going to go get ready for that, so I'm going to tear this down. And I appreciate everybody stopping by. Tomorrow we'll be working on some more technique stuff. And, yeah, doing some more gaming, too. Thank you all. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And thank you again for the subs and follows and all that fun stuff. Goodbye.